Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to my Zen-Den. I am so glad that you could join me. Let me try that again. I'm so glad that you could join me. My name is Mandy Van Haverman, and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up from Gray Eagle, Minnesota. And today, my hubby and I are going on a date. So a little earlier tonight than I normally am. So that is why we're doing this early. Tonight we're going to be doing a stamp set called Level Complete, and I thought it's a standalone stamp set that's in towards the back of the catalog, and I liked it because my boys are teenagers and they are into video games, and so when I saw this stamp set I was like, ooh, that's really neat, because then I can make some cards for my teenage boys and teenage girl nieces and things like that. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we are going to get stamping, and I'll show you Level Complete. Hold on one second. There we go. Yep. All right. So, Level Complete. It is on page 93 of the big annual catalog. This stamp set right here. Really just a fun stamp set. It is red rubber, so it's the red cling stamp set. It's got some really neat sentiments. When it feels like game over, always choose to play again. Happy birthday, leveled up, congratulations, and achievement unlocked. Then it's got a couple of different video game controllers and a little trophy there. So let's get stamping. We are going to start. Here's the first cheat sheet here. So let's start with this card. I'm going to lose those later on. I don't know what they were doing sitting over there, but I'm going to need them. I am using the ink pad Pebbled Path for this one. And I'm also going to be using masking paper. I'm going to show you a really fun technique. So here is the card that we're going to be making. I've masked this. So I'm putting two of the controllers there, and I'm going to show you how to make it so it looks like they're laying on top of each other. So we're going to transpose the colors though. So that's where the masking paper comes in. This is towards the back of the catalog. Really handy for a lot of different things, but I will show you how I'm going to use it here. So let's see what we've got here. I've got a Blackberry Bliss, 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 4 1/4. And then I've got a piece of Azure Afternoon, and this is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then I've got a piece of Designer Series paper. This Designer Series paper is from Stargazing, which is the Earth's, like the planetary kind of set that's in the book. It's also 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. I've got a piece of basic white for on the inside, and then I need a scrap basic white for to punch out a circle for the controllers, and then a 1/2 inch strip of Azure Afternoon, and then I used another strip I had leftovers from that Stargazing. Then we'll put that on the bottom of our inside, just for fun. So here is what we're going to do. I'll fold this in half and burnish it with my bone folder. Okay. Normally I would tell you to stamp first, then punch. I prefer on this one here to punch and then stamp. This may kick my butt. We'll find out. So I'm using the 2 3/8 punch. This is the punch that goes with the circle sayings. It's a nice big punch. If you don't have that punch and you have other punches, they will work. All right, so I've got this stamp right here. I'm going to pull out my masking paper. And this is actually a pretty good deal. I can't remember how much it costs, but there's 12 sheets in here, and it goes a long ways. If you don't have the masking paper, you can try to use like the sticky part of a Post-it note. The masking paper is a little easier though, I will tell you that. So I'm just going to use my Pebbled Path because I have it out here, and I'm going to stamp right on the masking paper, okay? And then I'm going to cut it out. So the really cool thing, I'm not much of a fussy cutter. If anybody who's ever stamped with me will tell you, it's one of those things where it's like, I just don't do it. But this set, I'm fussy cutting the other card too. it's tolerable because the shapes are pretty basic. They're not too tough. So I'm going to fussy cut this out. For a second there, I thought I did on the wrong side. There's two sides to the masking paper. The one side is sticky, the other side is the backing. So you obviously don't want to stamp on the backing. You want to stamp on the paper side, the sticky side. Okay, so now I've got that cut out exactly perfect. Okay, we are going to take this and we're going to stamp one on, got a piece of background paper here. Then this is just a piece of scratch paper to stamp on. I'm going to stamp one like that. Okay, and now I'm going to take the backing off of this, which is why I kind of stumbled, because I was like, do I want to take the backing off first? But I don't. But it's very thin, so you're gonna have to work at it to get it off. And maybe it would have been easier. There are cracks in the back of it. There we go. I got it. Once you get it, you can. I find that the adhesive on here is a little bit aggressive. So what I do is I will put it on my jeans. Like I'm literally sticking it on my jeans here on my pants and then taking it off just to put a little bit of lint on there. Sounds weird, but I just don't want it to be too sticky that it's going to rip my paper. So now I'm sticking it right directly over top of that image that I just stamped. Okay, this is where masking comes in. That's why it's the word, right? So I'm going to stamp then right over top of it. So now when I take off that piece of masking paper, it looks like it's sitting behind. Isn't that a neat little trick? I love that trick. Like I said, if you don't have the masking paper from Stampin' Up, you can try to use a Post-it note, like the sticky part of a Post-it note, but it might be tricky. And then I always just stick them like right inside my stamp case because, you know, I don't like to reinvent the wheel. So this is the one I made my sample card with. So that way I've got them. If I ever want to do it again, I've got that right inside there. So there is that. While I've got my ink pad out, I am going to, let's see, leveled up. Kind of a neat sentiment for a birthday card, right? Leveled up. All right. And one last sentiment. I'm going to do happy birthday right on the inside. I don't know if you know this, but teenagers don't like to read a lot of mushy card stuff. At least my teenagers don't. Maybe there's a teenager out there that does, but all right. So get that out of the way. Let's assemble our card. I'm just going to put this, like I said, this was actually not a piece of the Designer Series paper that is identical to the piece that I used here, but it was in there and I thought, we'll put it on there because it looks galactic and it dresses it up just a little. So I did. Put that on the inside. And I love the rich razzleberry with the galactic looking paper. I think it looks so neat. So, all right. So now this I am just going to kind of stick on kind of kitty wampus. If you wanted to, you could absolutely do some stamping on this piece, or you could run it through an embosser, like an embossing folder, and do some texture on it. I didn't think I really needed to. Kind of a simple stamping project here. So now I'm going to put that on opposite direction. All right, so now I've got this thing, my remote controls, my video games. Was this like from an old Nintendo? I didn't play video games as a kid. I had way too many siblings. We probably would have like fought like cats and dogs. So my parents never let us get video games. But I played them at my friend's house, and I want to say that's a Nintendo. I can tell you what the other one is. The other one is an Xbox. I've got the evidence right here with me tonight. All right, so I'm just going to snip that straight down. And this was just a 1/2 inch piece of the Azure Afternoon, which is one of the new colors. I think it's so pretty, it's so fun. All right, so let's bump that up as well. And I put 3 on like this. Sometimes I like to use the edges for my strips like this, just so that they don't get saggy in the middle. I don't like it when you're supposed to be up, and I want it to be up, so. I am going to put this one straight. Is that straight? That's straight. Okay, if it's not, it's okay. All right, so one last little final touch. These our sequins are our sequins, adhesive back sequins they're called. I want to say this is Pretty Peacock and white and maybe, I don't know what color pink that is, but it's pretty. And I like the white because they reminded me of stars. So let's put some white sequins on there. They're kind of an opaque white, so I just thought they were neat looking with this galactic looking background. So that is card number 1. So if I show you my other one, it's transposed. I just transposed the colors. So where it's Blackberry Bliss, backwards. But so those are that's my first card. Let's move on to the second one. Second one, I'm also using the Starry Sky Designer Series paper, or the Stargazing Designer Series paper. I'm using Starry Sky, that's the shade of blue here, 8.5 by 5.5. A piece of Pumpkin Pie, 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of Starry Sky, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. A piece of the Stargazing Designer Series paper, and I like this side here, the green, it's lemon lime twist kind of color, so any lemon lime twist, 3 by 4. I've got a scrap of basic white, and then a piece of basic white for on the inside, and a 1/2 inch strip of Pumpkin Pie that we're going to be stamping on also. The colors I'm using are Starry Sky, Pumpkin Pie, and then I'm also going to be using the black. So let's start pulling my background here again. I have a feeling I'm going to be losing stuff. Why do I feel I'm feeling losing? I'm feeling loosey. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Pumpkin Pie. Oh my word. I'm using this stamp set. It's kind of like shapes. It looks kind of like a big tech, and I'm just stamping some on the background of my Pumpkin Pie. So just like that. And that is all I'm going to do with that ink. Now, on my piece of scrap, let's set that aside. On my scrap piece, I'm going to take my Memento ink, and I'm going to grab a block, and this controller right there. I need a bigger block. There we go. We're going to ink that up and just stamp it down. I am going to fussy cut this out, but like I said, the fussy cutting on this stamp set is not bad. It's pretty simple shapes there. So I'm going to set that aside and let it dry for just a minute while I stamp the insides. All right, and so I'm going to do Happy Birthday on the outside. Clean that off. And this is in the Starry Sky, right on this Pumpkin Pie strip. Oh, that worked out beautifully. And then on the inside, I am going to do Achievement Unlocked. And I have to show you, I kind of gave my Achievement Unlocked, I kind of gave my stamp a little bit of surgery. I cut it off. It was really wonky as compared to the cut of the stamp. So like the actual shape that the stamp came in. So what I did is I cut it along here. So now whenever I stamp, I can just line up this top edge. That's where my word is at. So it's pretty close to being right. While I'm stamping, let's grab an orange and let's put one of these guys down in the bottom corner too. Just cause. And then let's turn it over and let's do it again because my card is going to be going the long way. I bet you guys have never ever done that, have you? Stamped your inside wrong as compared to the orientation of your card? That never happens to anybody. There you go. Okay. Woohoo! Crisis averted. Thank goodness there's two sides to the paper. All right. So now, I just so happen, because my boys would tell me if I colored this wrong. Just gonna say, I know this of my boys. So, yellow, red, green, blue. I will have this sitting here because I need to make sure that I get the colors correct. Yellow. I think I'm using blueberry bushel. So blue. Granny apple green. And poppy parade. Because we don't want our buttons to be mixed up. And then I didn't want to color my controller here. You can see is black, black buttons. I don't want to do that. So I used gray. I've got, let's see here, smoky slate. And I'm just coloring the T on the top. And then I'm coloring this port right there. And I'm coloring that dot, and I'm going to color this just to give it a little bit of interest. If you want to color like around the shading and things like that, go for it. I don't feel like it really needs to be done. So, all right, so now we're going to fussy cut this out. And like I said, don't be afraid of this one. This is a super simple shape. Nice and smooth, nothing like crazy big edges. I don't know, do you guys play video games? I don't, but my gosh, my kids, and even my husband does, he'll get in on it with them, and it confuses me. And maybe that makes me, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan, but I know the kids are, so. This is most definitely their language. Almost done. See? Very simple. I'm telling you, if I can fussy cut this one out, you guys can fussy cut this one out. Just stay on this one too. It's super simple to just stay right up on the outside of that line. All right, let's put it together. And aren't the colors on this card just fun? Love it. And I took the colors right out of the designer series paper pack like that. It's just a bright, fun colors. So, whoa, went right off the edge there. Make sure I can open it up right. So we're going to do that right on there. And then this is going to mount directly onto this little piece. Just center it on there. And then I'm going to off-center it a little bit that way. I thought that was just added a little bit of something, just to be off-centered. Kind of fun. Like that. And now this, I am going to grab my dimensionals and bump that up a little bit. I'm going to put one more. I don't like it. I don't want it to sag. All right, so I'm going to just stick that right on there like that. And it sits there just so nicely. And grab my snips right there. And my original card like this was transposed also. Inside that paper pack there's some orange, and so I used that originally and made a lot of cards like that. So right, the orange was here and I had lemon lime twist. Both of them look really, really neat. I like both of them. So I think I can get by with 2 on this one. It's a little shorter. So we'll put that out just like this. Isn't that fun? I love it. So I can put this here inside and it is the correct way. It is not the wrong way. Yay. All right. So that's the inside. Aren't those colors just the coolest thing together? So there's card number 2 if you want to take a screenshot of that. It's the correct. Just saying. If you're fussy that way, which my boys would be fussy that way. So, all right. Flip the camera around here. So I hope you guys took some inspiration from that. It's kind of, I have not seen many samples made with that set, and I think it's a fun set. It's a little different, and I think my teenagers are gonna love those cards. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so very much for watching. If you are watching the YouTube replay, if you could give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. And I will see you next week back here on Friday night. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.